stand at the crossroad of technological revolution and geopolitical shift. The global semiconductor landscape presents both unprecedented challenges and enormous opportunities. The persistence of the global chip shortage has also raised pertinent questions about supply chain resilience, geopolitical influences, and the rapid evolution of technologies beyond traditional silicon.
To see, how we are poised, for the next 5-10 years, and how this is going to make a big impact to the Indian economy, and how India is going to make an impact within this space, to the global, scenario.
And if you look at the history, last 50 years of history, the market, as on today, the market is roughly like 500 to 600 billion. And then for the next 10 years, let's say 2030, we are predicting like over 1 trillion. So it's kind of an exponential growth that is predicted there.
So I visualize this as a more of a pyramid, where at the base is the possibilities of a chip, and at the top is where the application of the semiconductor is there.
When it comes to the India semiconductor mission, I think its focus is very much clear, right? So we need to upstream the value chain for the semiconductor fabs and then ensure that there is a momentum and success.
There is a conscious effort to identify what kind of nodes and what kind of products will be required for India from government side, and the identification seems good right now. So the current manufacturing setups which are coming in, I think they look very much relevant and good for Indian industry also, as we see it from the electronic industry point of view. And hopefully then there is only a question of, once the ecosystem starts building, then it's a question of scale up and upgrade.
But then India is planning to continuously increase the incentives for bringing semiconductor manufacturing.
And on top of it, the diversity is kind of built in, right? I mean, by construction, there's so much of different types of thinking, thought processes in the society here. So that adds to the overall richness of the different types of solutions that needs to be available in this space.
We also need to change our approach in terms of getting more into hands-on, something beyond software, more into hands-on, more into R&D driven efforts in the country, rather, cut, copy, paste models, which have been successful in the past in the country.
Talent is our forte, attitude is our shortcoming. Most of our talent has been conditioned for last 3-4 decades in India to be wanting an employment rather than going and creating an employment.
And with 3, I think it is just a startup, right? I think we need more partners to come in this particular semiconductor journey. So if you see that in next 100 days, if you see 2 additional semiconductor industry projects are announced, that will really create a kind of a momentum in this particular journey.
Navigating geopolitical tensions, fast scalability, new capacities versus adding to existing capacities. Some of the companies, including ours, face this dilemma because there is a thought process of achieving more economies of scale. So whether to spread the plants or keep building in the same plants and increase the capacity, sustainability, develop diverse workforce, training, all these are the topics that are going to be critical.
India's domestic market. Are we sure that this domestic market is going to create a domestic demand? We need to make sure that. And how do we do that? Because unless we convert that market into demand, and especially for the local foundry, it's very hard for the foundry to succeed.
That these things need to be kind of permanent. It cannot be like today there is a buzz and we are coming here and tomorrow it dies out, right? And this has happened in the past. There has been many spurts of semiconductor initiatives that has never taken off. This should not be the case. It should be something more permanent and much more sustained over a period of time. These things take, I would say, at the minimum in the time frame of decades to evolve.
We need to look beyond our established design centers and consider how we can build a comprehensive ecosystem that includes manufacturing and innovation.
Micron setting up the OSAT facility is a big, we need to ensure that they really become successful. I'm sure they will, but I think the whole government is working on that they should become successful, because then they become brand ambassadors for the rest. It's like similar to what TI did we came to India way back in 1984 when there was hardly any multinational coming in India. Today, TI does more than 40% of the designs. Product definition actually happens out of Bangalore.
We always look at a foundry as a center place, and then all the ecosystem built around the foundry in terms of the equipment manufacturers, then the ecosystem related all components, let's say system designs and so on. So the foundry is a core component of the semiconductor industry, and we, even if we say it's a 40%, but it is basically playing a key role for other 60% to get successful.
If you have the bigger picture of a foundry business in India, then you need this service part. Yeah. So this you need always to think with, and this is not a domain for freshers. No, not people just starting, coming from university. This is really where you need to draw from the experienced workforce.
At this stage, chip design, fabs, ATMP, all the three right areas is what India is gunning for.
What is your idea to ramp up the talent development efforts? Do you think that fabs in India, whenever they come, will attract the global talent of Indian origin at least to come back to India and contribute locally? I mean, we always talk about that, there are a lot of people abroad who are willing to come back when these fabs come, but is it really practical for them to come back, and what will be the driving forces or motivational forces to attract them back home?
But from a talent perspective, I think demography is to me an unconnected battery, right? You can have a lot of good demography, but a trained, skilled demography is something that I think will be a very crucial factor in all this that we have said, because in the end, we have to deliver more things than execution, the decisions, the choices, the technology choices that we need to make.
But I feel very bullish. I think our academic system has produced success across the world. We, I think, have made huge strides in the last 3 to 4 years for manufacturing. Government also introduced very aggressively the Bhashini and Bharat GPT and AI mission, which now has percolated to many universities, and universities are really hungry to get into AI as well as semiconductor.
And most of the hiring, so if we see talent, it is very much software focused and chip programming and all. It is more on the software oriented. And Harold and Partha already mentioned on this particular ecosystem and talent. And we need more manufacturing skills. Software is not a substitute for the semiconductor manufacturing.
And we need to have the collaboration between industry and the governments and the regions among, we are talking right now between US and Europe, but perhaps also other regions, really to build up a kind of a supply chain which is capable to gain a relative high or higher share of this global market of 1.3 trillion.
By the time 2045 rolls around, we may be in the top 2 or 3 destinations for semiconductor manufacturing in the world.
Bring in the talent aspect. We are also one of the key stakeholders here to make this happen. Like I said, we're a platform enabling companies to look at talent from global hubs. Thank you indeed for spending this time with us. Lovely having all of you.